Contingency planning for a program like the space station is really important. But I tell you, the contingency planning or the types of things that you think about that can hit you are different depending upon the phase of the program. So initially, we had the first element of the ISS was called the FGB. It was actually manufactured in Russia, but it was contracted from NASA. So it was ready to go. But you had to make sure the next pieces were ready to go. The next piece was actually a node that was going to manufacture in the U.S. It was ready to go, but the real heart and soul of the initial parts of the ISS was the service module to be manufactured at the expense of the Russian government. And it was a year, actually more than a year away. And so we decided to actually hold those first pieces on the ground. And even then, in NASA, we were concerned that the service module wouldn't ever be ready. So we actually develop contingency plans to continue to execute our program if the service module doesn't fly. We also looked at contingency plans if every one of the elements, or any one of the elements, I should say, along the line was not successful. How would we continue on with the program? So initially we were looking at big chunks of the space station not making up there, not being successful in performing their function. That was a big deal to us. Now, all of a sudden, the shuttle, we have the Columbia accident, and now the shuttle is having its own issues. So now our focus is on the contingency. Well, what happens if the shuttle's damaged, and how do we keep the crew members on board until a rescue shuttle can come up? And so our focus now was more on the human side. How do we deal with all those people on board ISS? How do we make sure they can survive until another vehicle comes up? We also make sure that the systems, we were worried very much about the systems. Would they function? Our ability to repair those systems, in particular the ones that are necessary to sustain the life of all these humans in this time frame. And now as we go forward, now we've survived the shuttle retirement. Now the contingencies are, okay, what happens if we have to decrew space station for a while? How can we keep space station alive? Because a big part of keeping the station alive is being able to repair or replace broken parts when they fail. When something fails in the cooling system, we don't have a tremendous amount of redundancy. Our plan is, a pump failed, we replace the pump and we're good. So we have short-term redundancy, but not intended for months and years. And so we now focus a lot of attention on how to deal with that contingency. So the message here, I think, or the thing to think about is focus on the contingencies depending upon the phase of your program, and know that they're going to evolve over time. So when your program reaches another phase or about to enter another phase, you need to go back and reevaluate what are the contingencies we're planning for, and what are the most important ones to us, and go spend your resources to go really understand those contingencies and what your response would be to those contingencies. And that's something that we're doing even today. We're reevaluating what those contingencies are and building plans. So a big lesson for future programs.